Hello, and welcome to another fabulous day of art. Mrs. O'Neill, your art teacher here, okay? This video is for my 5th grade students. Hello, my 5th grade friends. All right, welcome to another fabulous day of art. Today, we're going to keep moving on art movements, okay? You have seen on this YouTube channel that in the past, we've already begun our journey talking about different movements in art history that are important for us to know and for us to learn about. So I've already done a video on pop art. I've already done a video on surrealism, surrealist art, and now today we're going to be talking about Cubism. Yes, hello, welcome to Cubism. All right, so our story for today, art history story, okay, goes all the way back to right now. Currently we are in 2021. Hello, we made it to 2021. Yay! All right, we're in 2021. Our story takes place in France, all the way back in 1892. That's a long time ago. Okay. All the way back in 1892 with a man named Paul Cézanne, okay? So here I have some visuals to help us with this. All right, so a man named Paul Cézanne here, okay? And Paul Cézanne is in France, and he's like, you know what? I'm a really good painter. I love the painting that I do. I do a lot of realistic stuff, but I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to try something different, right? So he starts painting in a more blocky kind of way. So this is one of his landscapes, and it's very blocky, as you can see. It's not super duper realistic. It's a little cubey, you could say, all right, and a little blocky. So he hung this up, this new style of his painting up, and people started to notice it, right? So people are noticing his new style of painting, and among the people looking at his new paintings are Pablo Picasso, this guy, and George Braque, okay? You probably at least heard of this guy over here. These two, okay, are in France, and they, at this time, in 1892, they're in France. They start noticing Cézanne's work, and they're like, what's he doing over there? We need to get a slice of that. How can we make that style work for us? And we're going to push it even further, right? So they start thinking, what if when we draw an object, when we paint and draw an object or a landscape or a person even, what if instead of trying to just look at it and just draw it from one angle, what if we looked at it from all different angles and we drew it from all the different angles at once? It kind of turns into this kind of abstract looking kind of style, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show you. Here is George Braque's water glass on a table. So it's Glass on a Table by George Braque, right? And you can kind of see, you can see the table here, and you can see it's a water glass, but he's done several different angles of the water glass at once. It's awesome, right? So that's kind of what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about making it super realistic. They're not thinking about just looking at it and just representing it from the way that they're looking at it. They're like, what if I did all these angles? I'm going to change the perspective I'm looking from. I'm going to look at all the different angles. I'm going to try to include them in the same picture, okay? They're trying to get more of the feeling of the object there. Here is Picasso's Weeping Woman. This one's very famous. You might have seen this one before, all right? And this one, the person is looking. You can see it's almost like he drew this person. He painted this person who's both looking at us like this, and we're also seeing them from the side as well, because we can see both of their eyes, but we can see the side of their nose here. It's very cubey, very blocky, as you can see. All right. Got another one here. We've got Pablo Picasso's Three Musicians. I really love this one because it's so blocky and chunky with its color blocks, and it's kind of fun to find the faces there. You've got one musician kind of playing a clarinet here. You've got one playing a guitar. You've got one holding some sheet music. Pretty awesome stuff here. All right, so Cubism starts to take form, and you might be wondering, where did Cubism get its name from? Well, I will tell you, okay? So George Braque, this is one of his landscape pictures, okay? And it's very cubey, as you can see, very blocky. He's doing a lot of different angles all at the same time, okay? So he hangs this up in an art gallery, and some critics start going around. They look at it, and they're like, oh, that just looks like a bunch of cubes. And they kind of meant it to be a little insulting. They were kind of trying to be like, what are you doing? This just looks like cubes. And he was like, yeah, Yeah, it is. So people started calling it that review from the art critic calling it just a bunch of cubes made everybody start calling it cubism, and they were like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna turn that what you meant to kind of insult us into something like kind of cool. We're gonna say, yeah, it's cubism and it's cool, and it's a new thing we're doing. All right. So pretty cool stuff. All right, so these two are really, when we think about when people ask you, okay, who were the people that started Cubism? Pablo Picasso and George Braque started Cubism. They were inspired by Paul Cézanne, all right, and his work, but they really kind of, Pablo Picasso and George Braque really kind of began the Cubism movement here, all right, where people started saying, oh, you know what, I don't want to make everything just really realistic. I want to make it a little bit more stylized. What if I do like a bunch of different angles at once? I'm not really trying to get a bunch of depth there. I'm just looking at all the different angles, and it's going to come out a little flat, a little cubey, and look a little bit abstracted. And then later down the line, this one I like to show because it's my favorite. It's my favorite Cubist work of art. It's by Marcel Duchamp, and he saw that and he was like, what if I do Cubism where I've got like a person walking down a stairs, which I really like looking at this one because it takes you a minute to kind of find that movement of that person walking down the stairs, but I love it. All right. So there you have it. So a little brief history there. That was just really a taste, a little sampling really of what Cubism, how Cubism began. And what Cubism is like. So that's our little sampling. I actually am going to link down here in the description of the YouTube video here. I'm going to link down here some more resources that I would love for you to check out. So you go down there and click on those and check out some of those resources, particularly from the Tate Museum. They have really, really good web pages that kind of explain different art history movements, so take a look at that, and that'll give you some more about Cubism. Now you might be wondering, but Mrs. O'Neill, why are you showing us this? What's the project? What are we doing here? How are we going to practice this? Okay, well, I just want us to practice Cubism, all right, and here's how we're going to do it, okay? You need a pencil and a paper, so if you don't already have a pencil and a paper in front of you, go ahead and go grab a pencil and a paper, okay? Find an object wherever you're working, wherever you're spending this quarantine. Find an object that you would like to draw, and I always recommend that you find something with some good angles. I like this hand sanitizer bottle has like a bunch of angles to it, so I like that it's got all that kind of going for it. So I'm going to use this to draw. I do try to tell people that if it's just a box, like a regular kind of flat looking box, it won't be as interesting to draw, so I would try something that has a little bit more dimension to it. So try to find an object. Maybe it's your favorite toy, or you know, an action figure, or a truck, something nearby that when you turn it, it would look very interesting from different angles. All right. So go ahead and pick something out. Pick out your paper and your pencil, and this is what I want you doing. I want you practicing. All right, drawing from different angles, all on the same paper, all on the same drawing here. Okay. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take a look. I'm gonna use this bottle to start with. I'm gonna look at it. And I'm going to start drawing it. I like to start drawing objects from the top. That's just how my preference, how my brain kind of works. I'm going to start by drawing this object from the top. I'm going to draw the cap, right? I'm going to start my drawing. It's got some angles on the bottle, like I said. Boop. And then I'm going to stop. I'm not done drawing it yet, but I'm going to stop myself only a couple seconds in my drawing, and I'm going to turn the bottle. Okay, and now I have to keep drawing, but now from this angle that I'm looking at now. So now I'm like, okay, and you might have lines that are going on top of your lines, shapes that are going on top of the shapes you've already drawn. That's okay, all right? But go ahead and start drawing from the new direction, the new angle here, all right? It might look kind of funky, it might look kind of weird, that's okay. All right, stop yourself, okay? After a couple seconds, stop yourself again. Turn the object again and keep going. Okay, so now I'm like, all right, now I got to restart and try to figure out where I want to put my new lines here. Kind of keep it kind of blocky, kind of chunky. So when you end up with your drawing, it's not going to look just like the object you drew, right? It's not going to look exactly like it. It's not supposed to look realistic. It's going to look like a cubey, blocky version of what you were drawing. You can even, I really recommend this. This is really fun. You can even look down on the object, like get over it, and then draw that as well. All right. Awesome. You didn't even draw that. There you go. But it's going to look different. So you're going to add different angles, and this is just going to give you a kind of nice place to kind of spark your ideas from on how to draw from different angles, from different points of view, all in the same one to kind of create that cubism kind of style, okay? And practice that as much as you need to. If you're like, oh, this object isn't really working, go find a different one. Go try with a new object. Remember to turn it. If you even need some help, you can ask somebody at home, ask somebody who loves you, just to kind of help you by maybe they turn it every couple seconds while you're drawing it, and then you got to kind of draw from the new angle. But I want you to practice with your cubism. If you would like this to count towards your art credit, don't forget to take a picture of it and send it to me. You can send it to me through Remind, or you can send it to my email address. That's fine too, right? So take a picture of your artwork, then send it to me if you want it to count towards your art grade. Yes, you can. If you want to just draw it with pencil and paper, that's fine. But if you want to add, if you want to jazz it up, spice it up a little bit by adding some color to it, that's your choice. If you want to do that, that's awesome. All right, enjoy. And like I said, if you want this to count towards your art grade, remember to take a picture of whatever your drawing was that you drew for Cubism and send it my way, okay? Thank you for joining me in the art room today, and I'm so glad you were here. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.